afternoon. My name is Maria Elena Incapié. I'm the Executive Director of the National Immigration Law Center. Some of our funders have joined us. Thank you so much. While we wait for Tim Szilard from the Rosenberg Foundation, who is hosting us today, we did want to take advantage to hear some inspiring words from our very own Dolores Huerta, who has been such an inspiration. ¿Se puede? ¿Se puede? ¿Se puede? Dolores.
Thank you very much, Maria. I was just saying to Maria that it's wonderful that we have not only the great labor leader, Maria Elena Durazo, but also we have Maria Elena II over here. Let's give her a big applause, okay? I just want to say that I am so truly inspired by all the work that everybody here is doing. It's just great to see so many of you young people that are out there really going out there and hitting the streets and hitting Sacramento, the legislators, and just doing the really important grassroots work that it takes to be able to make the kind of changes that we need, not only for our immigrant community, but for all of our state of California. We know that the immigrants, as was said earlier, we have such a big part of the population now. Many of our cities in California now are primarily the minority, as they say, are going to be immigrants of different ethnic groups, Latinos, Asians, et cetera. And so it's really great to see that you're doing all of this work to protect and help them. But I think the most important thing is to get them involved, in doing the change. And I just wanted to share a couple of, some of the things that helps us out and myself and other farm worker leaders organize. And they used to say to us all the time, how are you going to organize the farm workers? They don't have any money. They don't have any assets. They don't speak English. How can you possibly organize them? And the one thing that we knew, we had learned by our great mentor, and I'm going to mention his name. Maybe most people in the room don't know this, but when you think about great organizing, you have to think of this man. His name was Fred Ross Sr., okay? And he's the one that taught Cesar and myself how to do grassroots organizing. And the one thing that we learned from Fred is that you tell people, you've got the power, okay? You have power. And as people would say, well, what power do we have? As I said, we're poor, we don't speak English, we're not citizens. The power is in your person. That is all the power that you need. And once that we are able to put people together to build that collective power, then this is the way the changes are made. This is the way the changes are made. And we know that we have a lot of obstacles still. A lot of the fights that we're fighting right now are pushbacks because people don't want to see the immigrant community, people of color, take power. The greedy and the powerful would like to keep that power themselves at the top and not share it with anybody else. And so we're kind of at a critical point right now in our country about what's going to happen. We've seen the fights of the 99%, right, against the 1%, and that's basically what it is. This is basically what it is. And here in California right now, I think we have a really good opportunity now in November to really kind of correct some of the stuff that's going wrong. And one of them, I know we're nonprofit organizations, but as nonprofits, you can do work on legislation, as you know, and on the propositions. And we have Proposition 32 that's out there. Proposition 32 is going to try to take away the power of labor unions to be able to contribute to political campaigns. That means that California will look more like Georgia or Alabama, right? So that's really important, and it's going to be hard to explain to people. And I think one easy way to explain to people is this. Again, let's take farm workers, or even immigrant workers, right? Any immigrant worker. The person that they work for, whether it's a hotel or a farm, that employer belongs to many organizations. Probably Chamber of Commerce, if he's a grower, Western Growers, Farm Bureau Federation, Western Grape and Tree Fruit League, et cetera, et cetera. So the employers belong to 5 or 6 organizations. The worker only has one organization, and that's their union, okay? That is their union. And so why do workers need an organization? To defend them on the job and in the legislature or in the Congress. So when people try to say, why should workers pay dues to their union? because their union has to represent them and to fight for them and to organize other places so that they can, maintain the benefits that they won. Okay? So I'm just giving you some tips when you have to go out there, we have to argue to people. You got to vote no on Proposition 32. No on Proposition 32. It's going to be very, very important that we get that word out there. It's going to be very difficult. Right now, the polls show that that it's actually winning, Prop 32 is winning by 64%. And so we have to get out there and really spread that message to everybody. And at the same time, we have to say to people, vote yes on Proposition 30, right? And Proposition 30 is a 1% tax on people that make $250,000 or more. If they make $500,000, it's going to be a higher tax. And if they're a millionaire, they got to pay 3% more, right? And then we ordinary citizens are going to pay 1/4 of 1 cent sales tax. 1/4 of 1 cent. That means if you're making $30,000 a year, you'll pay an additional $30 in sales tax at the end of the year. And remember that medical prescriptions and things of this nature, we do not pay sales tax on that. So these are the challenges that we have. And we only have every couple of years when we have an election that we have a chance to really, you might say, exercise our democratic rights. And elections are one of those. And this is a nonviolent way that we have. And I just want to say this, we have a war against immigrants. We have a war against women. We have a war against our LGBT community. We have, a war against everybody, right? Unions. So, but this is what we have to say, especially young people and our Latino community too. Some of them they're not gonna want to vote because they're mad, all right? Somebody lost a job, a friend they know got deported, et cetera, et cetera. So we have to explain to them it's really important for them to vote. Our only weapon that we have, non-violent weapon that we have to fight against this war against us is our vote, right? And if we don't vote, we're saying to the other side, you guys won, ya ganaron, okay? We're not even going to fight. We surrender. So just tell everybody that we got to use that weapon, right? Our vote. It's really important. We don't have much time left between now and November the 5th, the election day, but we know that we can do it. No se puede, no se puede. Okay, let's do it louder. Se puede, no se puede. Louder. Se puede, no se puede. Okay, muchas gracias. Thank you very much.
We're so blessed to have an impromptu keynote speaker today for lunch. So we do want to ask Tim Szilard, who's now joined us, president of the Rosenberg Foundation. And Tim, you weren't here this morning to hear the accolades as we talked about the important role that the Rosenberg Foundation has played in supporting the immigrant workers' rights movement for several decades or longer. So again, Tim, thank you so much for hosting us.
Thank you, Mary Elena, and thank you, Dolores. You're just so incredible, and I'm so glad you were here. And I'm sorry we put you on the spot the last minute to speak, but we couldn't not have that happen. I will say that a couple things. I want to thank Mary Elena for all of her work leading up to this, and your work today, and the work you do every day. And to all of you, thank you so much for taking all of this time to be here all day. Is Gigi here? There she is. If you haven't been sufficiently thanked, and you can't have been, Gigi Barsoom, this was actually her brainchild last year to pull this meeting together, and she has been working tirelessly and passionately and so thoughtfully and so graciously and inclusively. So if we could give Gigi a hand, she's just worked so much to get this together. So Gigi had this thought, which I think we now know was brilliant. And I think I was brilliant in supporting it and saying yes, but that was easy to do, which was that there's this sense that there's an incredible moment of energy in California to advance work at the intersection between these two efforts, and phenomenal early success around some of the local organizing that's happening and local advocacy campaigns. And maybe there's this window of opportunity and moment to coalesce around a common agenda, a shared agenda, and that's why, again, at Gigi's brilliant suggestion, we named this Shared Prosperity, that this really is a moment to see if a lot of boats could be lifted together, as Dolores pointed out, in the wake of or in response to attacks against so many communities, and is this a moment where people can really move beyond individual issue campaigns and find that common agenda. And I think the other enormous window of opportunity that we see presented is represented by our two dear friends here, Ellen Whitus and Julie Su, and the work that they're doing in the Brown administration. I'd just like to give them a tremendous hand. I know how incredibly busy they are and how much it had to take and what it meant to them and the depth of their dedication to this community and this issue. And they are, I think, for each and every one of us, dear friends and incredible colleagues, and now tremendous allies within the Brown administration. And I just really thank you both for spending the whole day here with us and for everything that you're doing. It's just beyond belief. So thank you. And that's the other real question, I think, or one of the questions before us today is how can we support and work with these wonderful leaders, Julie and Ellen, and this administration and this moment of opportunity to advance exciting work at the statewide level in California. And so that's the spirit in which we're here, and I know that they're here. So Gigi originally said that I couldn't be in this room, and she said that the stakeholders needed the whole day to talk amongst themselves and not to have funders in the room. And I said, yes, 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 and now here I am. So, there are other funders in the room, Tessa and others, and I'm sure we'll want to make sure that every one of the foundation folks can introduce themselves. But I really hope that we are here and that you see us here in the spirit of allies, of partners, not as some outside entity to come to for funding, but rather as full partners and colleagues in the work, and as amenable to criticism and critique as anyone else in the room. And so please treat us with that same honesty today and every day. We are going to be in and out a little bit. As a funder group, we haven't had a chance to talk to one another about what we're already doing in this work and what we might do. So we wanted to be here for this session and for this panel. Then we're going to, those of us who are from foundations are going to have our own breakout session. While the breakout sessions go on here, we'll be across the hall in the Sierra room, and then we'll come back for the session with Julie and Ellen and the rest of the day. So that's most of what I wanted to say. Again, thank you for being here. Finally, I want to say that from my perspective, on behalf of Rosenberg, we see this as very much a beginning or a midway point. Obviously, it's the work that many of you are doing every day and have been doing, but certainly not the end. And we're committed to, while we're a small funder, we're scrappy, as Ellen has led us to be, and with that legacy and her legacy really in this work, in these two areas of important work, we're committed to doing everything we can, both to provide funding and, as I said, to continue to be a real partner and to continue to advocate within philanthropy and with you for more work, more commitments, more opportunities, and more opportunities taken to advance this work together. So thank you very much, and thank you to you, Mary Elena.